All right, let's dig right into Matthew chapter 2. Here's what struck me as I was reading Matthew chapter 2, is that so far in these first couple chapters, the very, very beginning of the story of Jesus' life, it's mostly a lot of people hearing from God and obeying him, doing what it is God asks them to do. So in this beginning of chapter 2, we have the Magi, and they've heard from God through the stars, which blows my mind because people who claim to hear things from the stars now, we would call them astrologists, and we would know to avoid that. But they heard from God through the signs and the wonders he put in the stars that there was a king coming. And so they obeyed God to go and worship that king and to go and find him. And so that's the first thing that happens. And they come out, they meet the king, and then they get a dream that warns them not to go back and tell Herod where Jesus is. And hearing God in the dream, they obey him. They don't go back. Then Joseph and Mary hear from God in another dream to go to Egypt to protect Jesus and save him from what Herod is planning. And then when all is well, they hear again that it's okay to come back. And so they obey God again and they come back, except they hear in another dream that they shouldn't go back to Judea. Instead, they should go to Bethlehem. And they obey God yet again. And so it just strikes me more and more that this is really the life of Christians, is to learn to listen to God and learn to obey him. And that's what we're called to do. I've done a lot of youth ministry. I've talked to a lot of kids. And when you ask them what it is to be a Christian, so often they'll tell you, oh, well, it just means trying to sin less, trying to do the right thing, trying to make good choices, trying to become the best person you can. And this idea that somehow we could earn our own righteousness and be holy and just choose to be holy. And it misses the whole point of the gospel, that we never could be holy on our own. We never could be righteous apart from Christ. All we can do is work to hear him and obey what he's asking us to do, because on our own, we'll always mess it up. We'll always turn it around and we'll always go the wrong way. But even when we do, if we learn to listen and to obey, we'll turn around quickly. We'll repent quickly. Repent just means to turn around, and we'll go back to following God the way we should. And that's the other thing that really struck me here in Matthew chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, "But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you will come a ruler who will be a shepherd of my people Israel." And I think a lot of the reason that struck me, of course, is because I don't know that I have a lot of context for what a leader would be like, a leader that was a shepherd. I see a lot of leaders who want to exert control and dominance, and who want to control the media, and who want to show people what's most important, and who want to lead strongly. But I don't see leaders that are like shepherds. But it makes sense that God says he's our shepherd, because all we see here in these first couple chapters of Matthew is people following God, following him like sheep follow a shepherd. And so that's what I want to endeavor to do with my life. I want to endeavor to learn to hear God better and to follow him like a sheep would follow a shepherd, to obey him when I hear him. And I have to admit that a lot of times I've followed God kind of like this, like, God, just let me know what you want me to do. If I hear from you, I promise I'll do whatever you tell me. You just tell me what you want me to do. And you can't do that, right? Like, you've got to find a way to open your eyes and to unplug your ears and to actively listen to God, to take the time to listen, to show God that you're willing to hear him, and to make that an important part of what you're doing. And so I guess that's my prayer for us, is that as we continue this journey, we take the time to listen to God. We learn how to really listen and really obey. Join me tomorrow. We'll dig into Matthew chapter 3, and we'll see what happens next.